Let's talk about something that makes most of us break out in a cold sweat, the job interview. But what if I told you we've been looking at it all wrong this whole time? Today, we're diving into a strategy that completely flips the script, turning that terrifying test into, well, a collaborative consultation.
This right here is the entire idea in a nutshell. It's a huge mindset shift. Your goal isn't to just sit there and get all the answers right. No way. Your goal is to walk in like an expert, diagnose a problem, and show them that you are the solution. So let's break down how you actually do that.
Okay, first, let's talk about the problem. You know, the way most of us do it. We walk into an interview and we immediately slip into this default role. We become the student. We sit there, we wait for questions, we spit out our perfectly rehearsed answers, and we hope the teacher, the interviewer, gives us a good grade. This puts you in a totally passive, really low power position from the get-go. And when you see it side by side like this, the difference is, well, it's night and day, right? Over on the left, you've got the student. They're passive, reactive, just looking for approval. But on the right, that's the consultant. They're proactive, they're asking their own questions to figure out what the company's real pain points are. One of them is waiting to be picked, the other is proving their value in real time. So, the big question is, how do you make that leap? Well, you stop thinking of yourself as just another candidate in a long line, and you start acting like a trusted partner. You're walking into that room not to ask for a job, but as an expert who's there to solve their problems. And this question is your secret weapon. Seriously. This is probably the single most powerful question you can ask to completely change the dynamic of the room. All of a sudden, the conversation isn't just about your resume anymore, it's about their future success. You're asking them, what does a win look like? Which immediately puts you on the same team, trying to get that win. So why does this question work so incredibly well? Well, a few things are happening here. First, it forces the hiring manager to actually picture you in the job, already succeeding. That's huge. Second, it just instantly lifts you up from being a candidate to being a partner. And finally, like we said, it shifts the entire focus from your past to their future.
Now, this whole consultant mindset thing, it doesn't just stop when you shake hands and walk out the door. Oh no. In fact, what you do next is where you have a chance to really seal the deal. Your follow-up isn't just a polite little formality, it's actually the next phase of the consultation.
Come on, let's be honest. That standard, hey, thanks for your time email is completely forgettable. I mean, it's polite, sure, but it does absolutely nothing to move you forward. It is a massive, massive missed opportunity to prove you were listening and that you're already thinking about how to solve their problems. So instead of that passive approach, you're going to go proactive with this simple 3-step plan. First, you acknowledge their time, and you summarize the main problem you talked about. Second, and this is the real game changer, you offer what we'll call a solution snippet. And finally, you take charge and propose what the next step in this consultation should be. Boom! Here is a perfect example of what a solution snippet looks like. See what's happening here? You're not just saying you can solve their problem. You are giving them a tiny, tangible piece of value right now. You are demonstrating your expertise before you even have an offer. That is unbelievably powerful. And that's the result. You're not just talking about what you could do for them someday. You are actively showing them the kind of problem-solving value you'll bring from the moment you walk in the door. You make the decision to hire you feel less like a gamble and more like the most obvious, logical next step. Okay, so all of this leads to this really cool final concept, what the source material calls the day zero advantage. This is the ultimate payoff of the whole consultant mindset, and it totally changes your relationship with the entire hiring process. So, what in the world is the day zero mindset? It's pretty simple, actually. It's about refusing to see that anxious time after the interview as some kind of passive waiting game. Instead, you see it as the official start of the work. That value-added follow-up you sent, that wasn't just a thank you note. That was your first deliverable. And this comparison just says it all, doesn't it? The waiting room mindset makes you a passive candidate. You're just another line item on a budget waiting to be picked. But the day zero mindset, that makes you proactive. You're already starting the work, which turns you from a potential cost into an investment that's already paying off. And at the end of the day, that's the real power shift. You stop begging to be picked for the team. You start acting like the valuable partner they desperately need to win. You are not asking for a chance.
You're initiating a collaboration based on the value you can bring right here, right now.
So the next time you have an interview, just remember, you're not the student in an exam room. You're the doctor. You're there to diagnose the problem and prescribe the solution. So are you ready to turn a simple thank you into a "you're hired"?